Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Buenas noches. Bienvenido. Welcome to tonight's event. We have event about peer-to-peer, buying, selling Bitcoin peer-to-peer, and we will focus it on privacy, security. We will have free talks, and after those talks, we will have a panel discussion. We have special guests tonight. One of them is Josef Tětek, and the second one is Lunaticoin, very famous people in the Bitcoin space internationally. So first presentation is going to be about peer-to-peer with RoboSats and Binance peer-to-peer. Second, it's going to be about VEXL and buying, selling Bitcoin face-to-face. Third, it's going to be about Hodl, and it will focus more on the 2 of 3 multisigs. And after all that, we will have the panel discussion. And the special thing tonight, we have a lightning raffle again, so you can win premium prizes. The top prize is Trezor Safe 5, which is very premium, really nice hardware wallet. Which was donated by the Trezor Academy or Trezor. So thanks a lot for this beautiful prize. And so let's start with the first presentation. And I chose 2 platforms. I chose RoboSats and I chose Binance peer-to-peer. And I'm gonna be completely honest, guys. I'm biased. I'm not a big fan of Binance peer-to-peer, but I chose it by the purpose to compare it, to be able to compare the differences between like the decentralized and centralized peer-to-peer platforms. A little bit about me. I'm a Bitcoin educator. I'm a co-founder of Bitcoin Paraguay and also a company called Hacking Lives. My background is in software development. Before I was programming mobile apps. If you want to know more about myself and the projects I'm involved in, you can scan this code. So first, let's start about what is peer-to-peer. Who heard about peer-to-peer here? Okay, probably around like 65% of the people here, which is great. That's actually a really nice number. And what is peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer is basically a decentralized network or system where the peers, the parties that are involved in the network, communicate directly between each other. So, as you can see on this really nice image, there are so many connections between all the participants in the network because these connections are direct. On the other hand, the opposite system is centralized. And in this system, even though you can have millions of participants, they are dependent on one or few centralized entities that are basically relaying the communication between those peers. So no matter if those 2 guys want to communicate just directly between themselves, they still have to rely on the centralized entity that sets the rules of the communication and can ban you if you, for example, don't follow the rules or the government doesn't like you, etc. So here are some strong reasons why you should care about peer-to-peer. So there is no middleman, no centralized control that is relaying the communication. First thing, decentralization, because it's decentralized, the network, there is no easy government attack, that can be done for the peer-to-peer network. On the other hand, if you compare it with the centralized system, it's much easier to go to the few entities that are basically relay the communication and force them to follow the rules that government creates. Privacy, if you do peer-to-peer right, you can really much keep your private data. And what I mean by private data, it's basically your identity. You don't have to upload your government-issued ID or passport or driving license. You don't have to tell the platform where you live, how much income you make, what is the color of your underwear, you know, and etc. And of course, peer-to-peer, because it's decentralized again, it's much more accessible, because even people in the regions that are underdeveloped, that for example don't have access to the Western financial system and the most developed centralized platforms, they can still transact peer-to-peer with cash, right? And of course, flexibility, because it's peer-to-peer, you are setting the rules. You're the one that is directly communicating with the counterparty, and it's up to you what rules you set for the transaction. So again, if we compare it with the centralized exchanges, for example, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, etc., these entities are regulated, and they are heavily regulated. If they want to open a business in a jurisdiction, United States, Europe, Argentina, Paraguay, they have to follow the rules the government sets them to follow. And it means that usually government forces them to collect your personalized information, such as your government-issued ID. They can ask you how much money you make. And of course, because it's regulated, they also have to give access to the government institution to get these data from the centralized exchange, and they can also push them to basically block your account or seize the funds you have stored on this centralized exchange. And because these entities are centralized, they are also becoming a huge honeypot. Imagine right now, there's an entity called Coinbase, and this entity, they holds assets of most of the ETFs that all the financial institutions, such as BlackRock, are issuing. You know what happens if there is some attack vector and guys from North Korea, or I don't know, some hacking group will find this vulnerability and they will hack their system and seize their funds, right? It's a huge honeypot, and more funds are stored or governed by this centralized entity, the bigger the honeypot becomes. And of course, there are transparency issues, because these entities have to report. Sometimes they over-leverage themselves and they go bankrupt. And there's one more issue that is huge, and it's becoming more and more problem, and that's the chain analysis. Because they can sell the market data, they can give access to the booking orders to the entities, third-party entities, and so on. So as we know from the history, for example, the FTX, it was one of the most publicized issue, or how to call it, like the bankrupt. It was really public in the media. But there were many more. There was Van Gogh's, there was Genesis, BlockFi, etc. So let's focus on RoboSats versus Binance peer-to-peer, which are the platforms where you basically can trade peer-to-peer and send the funds with the bank transfers. Let's start with the RoboSat. It's a platform that is based on the Lightning Network. It uses technology that's called like Hodl invoices, which is basically not fully confirmed Lightning invoice. It's very private, decentralized. It uses technologies like Tor, which improve your privacy over the network. And because they are using pseudonymous identities that they call robots, there is no mention about your real identity. And the only person that really knows your identity or your name and account number is the person on the other end that is sending you the bank transfer, or you're sending bank transfer to him. The RoboSats, at least in the United States dollars, euros, and Brazilian reals, has quite good liquidity. There are many orders that are public, and the platform itself has really low fees. It uses entities that are called coordinators, and these coordinators, they are basically ensuring that that the actors are behaving right. But most of the time, like 95% of the time, they are not involved in the transaction itself. Only if there is a dispute opened, these guys can step in and resolve the issue. The premiums on this platform are quite good for non-KYC peer-to-peer Bitcoin. It's usually between like 1% to 4%, but it really much depends on the currency you're trading. This is how the platform looks like. As you can see, this is mostly euros and United States dollars. So if you're European or US resident, you can try to use this platform. But of course, as with all platforms that are using bank transfers, and this is really important to mention, usually the Bitcoin part is fine because it's decentralized. There is no point of control, but the banks are the problem. I used this platform a lot in the past, and occasionally I still using it. And I can say that, for example, Revolut, they made me so many issues in the past. They blocked my transfers. They sometimes were asking me questions like if I know the counterparty. They sometimes were asking me like if I'm involved in some criminal activity, because once I was trading with some guy from Brazil, and after the discussion with the Revolut support, I got the information that this guy basically has a problem with the police, Brazilian police, because he didn't pay some bills. So so you can get into troubles on the banking side, but on the Bitcoin side, it's usually working just fine. If you want to know more about this platform, you can scan this code, or you can go to GitHub. On GitHub, you can search a repository that is called RoboSats, or you can find a page, I believe it's learn.robosats.com or net or org, I'm not sure. But if you Google it, you will find this platform. Let's compare it quickly with the Binance peer-to-peer. Binance peer-to-peer, who knows Binance peer-to-peer here? Okay, I see some hands. Who is using Binance peer-to-peer here? Okay, again, a few hands. So Binance peer-to-peer is one of the most known centralized peer-to-peer platforms on the market. And especially here in Paraguay, I think it has really strong position, and it's used mostly for trading USDT peer-to-peer. There's really good liquidity, I must say. The trading fees are 0. You pay to the Binance. They don't want any fees. They use, of course, escrow system, which is centralized. There are not like many coordinators. The coordination is done by the Binance itself. And it has a review system, so you can see how many successful trades the counterparty had in the past, and the usability of the app is really good. But of course, there is a downside, and the downside is quite big, because you're using Binance. Of course, you have to go through the KYC process. So again, even though you're trading peer-to-peer directly with the counterparty, you still have to give your personal data to Binance, and they store them, and they have all the transaction history you have using this platform. And what can happen one day is that those data will be leaked, and they can be leaked to darknet. And you know what, like some bad actor can one day come to your house with a gun, right? And ask you like, hey, I saw that on Binance that you had so much money, so much cash flow. I'm sure that you have a lot of Bitcoin stored on your hardware wallet, right? This is one case. The second case is that the government can do the same thing, right? Like, what can happen if the government system, the government issued currencies, all the fiat system, if they go bust? Like, first thing they will do is they will knock on your door and they will want your Bitcoin, because that's gonna be the last thing they have left. So if you care about decentralization, if you care about privacy, if you care about your sovereignty, you should use platforms like RoboSats, or if you prefer cash transactions, you should use platforms like VEXL. If you don't care about these, you can continue using Binance, and I have to admit, they have really good liquidity. They support USDT, which of course is great in Paraguay. And yeah, but you have to understand that you're sacrificing something, and it's not the comfort, but you're sacrificing your privacy, you're sacrificing your personal data. So this is everything from my part, my presentation. Thank you very much, and I will pass the mic to my friend Josef, and he will continue presentation about VEXL and decentralized network.
Yes. All right, so Jan is gonna set up the presentation. In the meantime, who here has already downloaded the VEXL app at some point? It's quite a lot. And who has actually done like a transaction through the VEXL app?
I tried.
Couple people. Yeah, you tried that. Yeah, that's one of the problems maybe compared to some other platforms that needs a network effect. All right, so yeah, please. Perfect. So let's begin. I'll make it short. I think the discussion afterwards will be probably the most interesting. So what is VEXL? VEXL is a social network. It's a Tinder for Bitcoiners. That's my favorite definition of what it actually is. It's a way for you to meet fellow Bitcoiners in your local community, to exchange Bitcoin. As I say, it's a Tinder for Bitcoiners, and nobody can tell you what you do, so it can lead to some lucky outcomes as well. So it's a way for you to buy and sell Bitcoin face-to-face with full privacy, nobody else knowing what you're doing, which is great, so, as it should be. because Bitcoin is here for like 17 years, and it has become very corrupt to some extent. Not through like what's happening with Bitcoin Core stuff. I think like the problem runs even deeper, and a lot of people are actually unaware of what has happened with Bitcoin, and that's it's actually turning into the legacy banking system to some extent, because the natural way for newcomers to buy Bitcoin is through exchanges. Jan has mentioned it, like Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, huge exchanges that take all your data, and you never know what's going to happen with those data. So Bitcoin is becoming quite a surveilled system, and the surveillance in the context of Bitcoin is a huge problem, because as you know, Bitcoin is fully transparent. We have the thing called time chain or blockchain. So if you link your Bitcoin identities, your addresses, with your real-world identities, it's a perfect surveillance system. So we are here to change that. So the promise of Bitcoin has always been that it's peer-to-peer, you know, the abstract of the white paper, peer-to-peer electronic cash system should be permissionless, no middleman, and that makes it unstoppable if it's used as a peer-to-peer cash. But the reality, what Bitcoin has become, is you buy Bitcoin on an exchange and you keep it there, or you chase some yield on an exchange, and the exchange collapses, and you thought you owned some Bitcoin, but you actually didn't. Accounts get frozen. That's quite a usual thing. You never know when it happens, because if you hold Bitcoin on an exchange or not holding a Bitcoin, you are holding an account with the service provider, and they can do whatever they like with it. CBDC is coming. That's more on the side of stablecoins. Stablecoins are basically CBDCs. That's why the governments like them. And of course, KYC. So we have basically the new 2.0 banking system built on top of Bitcoin because of custodial services and KYC. What is actually KYC? It stands for Kill Your Customer. That's like the real definition. Or sometimes it's also called Know Your Customer, if they like to put some good PR on it. But knowing your customer means you are tracking the identity of the users. They keep your data forever. It will never get erased. And the data you put to the exchanges is basically perfect for them. It's everything that can be known about you will be known, like your residential address, verifications that you actually live at those addresses, of course your IDs, and yeah, as Jan said, these can be leaked, and like not even can be, they will be leaked to both public and private criminals. Public criminals, of course, the state, private criminals, people that come knocking on your door. So KYC is the illicit activity. That's a beautiful term. Yeah, so you have all kinds of these risks. We don't have to keep going through them. But what is VEXL? VEXL is the answer to all these problems that I mentioned here. It's, as I said, a Tinder for Bitcoiners. It's a social network that comes with no KYC. We are not trying to kill our customers. We don't actually have customers because it's not a for-profit business. It's an open source tool for Bitcoiners to use. There's no identity verification, meaning there's also no surveillance, and we don't keep any data that can be leaked to public or private criminals. We can see what's happening in between the users in the app on the platform. It's not actually a platform, it's an app. That, I'll show you later what it is actually. And it's all the interactions between the users are end-to-end encrypted. So only the individual users, if they're interacting, are actually able to see what's happening in this network. Right. So it's quite important to understand what VEXL is not. It's not an exchange. It's not like Binance, not like Coinbase. It's a social network. It's not a corporation. There's a foundation behind it. It's a non-profit foundation developing the app. It's not a middleman. There is no escrow. It's not a wallet. So all the trades that are happening go straight to and from your wallets, right? There is no escrow on the app, and that's very important for the foundation to be protected in terms of KYC, AML requirements and stuff. We just cannot touch any Bitcoin. It doesn't collect the data, and it's not a for-profit company. What it is an open source tool for freedom, for Bitcoin as it should be. It's just a couple of people and a very cute dog, Ash the VEXL dog. You can find him on Twitter. He has his own Twitter profile. Community powered, run on the volunteer network, such as me. Yeah, and it's Bitcoin as intended. And yeah, I don't know if you can be seen down below, but VEXL is being funded through Bitcoin grants, like from the Human Rights Foundation, OpenSats, and a couple of others. Yeah, how it works, you can basically skip that. You download the wallet, you download the app, you import your contact list, very important. I'm gonna explain later what are the nuances of that. It works, as I said, it's a social network that works on top of your contact list, your phone numbers in the phone. Because it's a very good way to bootstrap a social network instead of building a new one or using like Facebook or stuff. Phone numbers work the best, we found. You discover like the offers on the app, or you post your own offers. You chat with the counterparty, and the chat is end-to-end encrypted, and only you two guys can see what's going on. And then you meet and exchange cash for sats. So it works based on your social graph, on your real-world contacts that you have stored in your phone as phone numbers. And in the app, you will see there's like first-degree contacts. That's people that you have imported into the VEXL app, their phone number. So it's your actual friends. Or you can also choose to use the second-degree contacts, meaning it's friends of friends. This has a very interesting feature because there is no global view to the VEXL app. Nobody can see all the offers, and nobody can see like the whole view, not even like the VEXL developers, because nobody has like everybody's numbers. Right. All right. This is a wall of text. I know it's not nice in a slide to have like this wall of text, but it is the most important and the best described explanation of how VEXL actually works underneath, and it answers a lot of common concerns that users might have. So I'm going to turn around. I have a very good t-shirt for that, and I'm going to read it and highlight the most important points. So privacy on VEXL. VEXL is built with privacy at its core, and this is achieved through a method known as data separation. Here's how it works. In the back end of the app, the part hidden behind the user interface, user data is divided into 4 distinct components: user profile, contact list, offers, and chat interactions. Each component is allocated to a separate microservice. These microservices are independent and do not interact with each other. That is very important. So you can see there's like the user profile, and for example, the chat interactions, and these are separated and encrypted, and there's no way for us as the VEXL developers to put these together. So these microservices are independent and do not interact with each other. They each perform specific functions and have their own databases. All of these components only come together on the client side, your mobile phone. So VEXL is like a local first application where the most sensitive stuff that's happening, like the user interactions, are happening only basically on your phone, are encrypted on your phone, and then sent out. The server always remains unaware of the associations between numbers and their actions on the platform. We can never say if you used VEXL, if you connected with someone, if you posted an offer, reacted to one, or had a chat. If someone were to successfully decode the hash numbers, because the phone numbers are hashed, they would only obtain a list of numbers without any context or associated information. Neither of the phone numbers are connected to any chats or any marketplace offers. So like the worst case scenario where somebody gets a list of numbers, like of users that are using VEXL, that's the only thing they get. They cannot get any actual interactions or if any trade happened and what the people were chatting about. They would only get like the view of who has downloaded the VEXL. So yeah, and this is just installing VEXL. Pretty straightforward. One interesting, it's not straightforward on iOS, on Apple phones, because Apple hates us. Apple actually said that it's reckless, it's promoting reckless behavior to advise users to meet in person and exchange, do something with cash. We don't think it's reckless. We think like going on Coinbase is reckless, but that's how it is. Of course, it's also because Apple isn't getting their 30% because there is nothing to get, because we don't collect any fees. It's a non-profit app. So for Apple, yeah, it's kind of tricky. You need to install something called Old Store. Yeah, Old Store, like an alternative store. Then you will add Freedom Store, and then you install VEXL. You can take a photo, or it's explained on the website. So yeah, for Apple, it's not optimal. For Android, it's very straightforward. You can download VEXL from the Google Play Store, or you can use the alternative open source web stores, app stores. Yeah, I think that's it for the Android. Yeah, so like the summary of VEXL is, it's not a company. We are not harvesting any user data. It's not a for-profit business, because then we will definitely have to do KYC AML. And you've seen what happens with the Samurai developers. Even if you do like an open source non-custodial service where you don't have the user data and stuff, the government will still jail you. So this is the most resilient way to do what we do without collecting any fees and without collecting any data, without touching any Bitcoin. Yeah, it's just a social network for anybody in the world to use. It's also on GitHub. Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. It's a fully open source app, so you can check it on GitHub. You don't have to trust me or anybody from VEXL. So check it on GitHub so that you verify, or check somebody who has verified it, that what I'm saying is true, that we don't actually collect any data, or we are not able to link any user interactions together. Yeah, so I think that is all from my side on VEXL. Do we do some questions? Yeah. All right. So if there's any, yeah.
One thing, we need to change the presentation, so we will turn off the screen for a moment. And now we have time, like 5 minutes for a quick questions for Josef. And also one more thing, this bar accepts Bitcoin. So if you're a true Bitcoiner, you should spend Bitcoin, right? So please support the owner, Juan, and spend some nice Bitcoin here.
Also, I forgot to mention one thing. There's even a way to use VEXL without importing your phone contacts, and that's through so-called VEXL clubs. And there's a Paraguayan VEXL club, but you have to be let in. It's like a fight club, you know. You need to prove yourself. And Jan is the guy to talk to if you want to get into the Paraguayan VEXL club. It helps kind of with the initial network effect, because if you don't know any Bitcoiners and your friends don't know any Bitcoiners, then you won't see anything in the app. So the VEXL clubs are like a nice way for you to connect with other Bitcoiners in your area. So let's see if you have any questions. In the meantime, I can maybe explain where the name comes from, VEXL. It's a Czech slang word coming from the 80s, from the communist era. Czechoslovakia was a communist country. And as it goes in communist countries, there was a heavy restriction of exchanging our local shitty fiat into foreign currencies like US dollars or German marks. And VEXL was non-KYC peer-to-peer exchange done on the street. It comes from the German word VEXL, which means exchange. So yeah, so we Czechs have been doing VEXL for like 40 years now. Just now you're doing it with Bitcoin. Okay, what is this? Yeah, okay, so the questions are going to come from the crowd. I thought we were waiting for the Slido. So if there's any questions, or just one question, if anybody has. Yeah, there's a question. Do we have another mic, or how do we do it? So just shout it.
No. I had a problem with VEXL on my Samsung Galaxy S10. Is that fixed? I had a known error. So
Okay, there was a problem with the app on an Android phone?
On a Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus.
Okay.
And I had an unknown error.
Yeah.
When I tried the exchange, that was a week ago. Or
Okay. Yeah, so the best way is to take a screenshot and we can send it to like the support to resolve that, because I won't know. Yeah.
And I won't talk to you.
Yeah. We can.
Solve yourself?
Yeah. You can give me.
It's easier. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a screenshot and I'll try to resolve it. All right.
Okay.
Is there any other question?
I don't know if you already said it, but what's the reason because that it's not directly in the iOS store?
Because Apple kicked us out of the Apple Store, of the App Store. It used to be in the App Store, but Apple didn't like that we basically advise the users to meet in person and do something with cash. That's their given reason, that it's a reckless behavior we're promoting reckless behavior if we advise users to meet in person and exchange cash. Like, I mean, with VEXL you can also do wire transfers, but that has a slight privacy problem because you leave the digital trace. So what we advise is for people to meet in person in some public space, safe space, and exchange Bitcoin for cash, so that you don't leave any digital trace. And of course, Lightning is better than on-chain. Yes?
I have two questions. The first one, how I, as a user, I'm going to have some certainty that you are going to still be there in a few years because of your business model?
Yeah.
I think that is one question. And the second one is, do you have any kind of rating for the users? Because I don't know if the users are there at it or not.
Yeah. So the first question is, what's the certainty we're going to be there a couple of years from now? I don't know if there's a certainty, because the government still can try going after us. But it's all like open source on GitHub, so anybody can basically pick it up. It's, I would say, kind of similar to when the Wasabi wallet shut down their coordinator. The code for the CoinJoin coordinator was public and open source, and other people around the world spin up their coordinators. But yeah, so that's like the best answer, that it's open source and somebody else can pick up the torch if something happens to the VEXL team. And the second question was if there's any user rating on the platform. There is none. It's built on the social graph of your contacts. And the reason is because the ratings can be gamed, can be attacked by bots, and are not actually that useful if you want to build on this web of trust sort of system, because it's much more important to you if you are meeting with someone that you have 5 common friends with than if it's like someone you have nobody in common with. It's some large trader that has good ratings, but you don't know anything else about him. So this is a different kind of like trust system. Okay, I think this is it for the questions, because we're going to have a panel discussion later and there can be much more discussion. Thank you very much.
Pero cuando
All
soy
right,
yo.
and please welcome the next speaker, which is Lunaticoin. So welcome Lunaticoin, welcome in Paraguay again.
Thank
Long
you.
time no see, right?
Yeah.
After accelerating Bitcoin, so
Yeah.
welcome.
The clicker? Okay. So, yeah, it's great to be here. Yeah, I've been like, it was a month and a half ago I was here, and it feels so good. It feels strangely like home. So hopefully it can become that, not in a short time. Okay, the idea here, when they told me that we were going to be talking about non-KYC peer-to-peer ways of getting Bitcoin, I said, of course, they choose first. And after they choose, they say, okay, I know, I see the missing spot there. I can talk about Hodl and multisig 2 out of 3. We will talk about that. But the truth is that I thought that it would be more like a talk. And then I get here, and they are so professional that they got presentation. I say, okay, I'll figure it out because I have something that I can show. And I think it's going to be more practical and a bit different. Why do I have a presentation? I have a presentation because aside of my show, my weekly podcast, I do educations with a friend, Arcad, for last close to 3 years. And there is a moment, this education is about learning how to custody Bitcoin like from zero in 4 weeks. And it's quite intense. And we teach them how to create a custody plan. And you cannot learn how to custody Bitcoin if you don't try your system, if you don't try your custody plan. No? So this is in this 4th education week that we have. And we teach them how they should create a custody plan of Bitcoin. And at some point we say, okay, but you need to do some tests to test that you did your stuff good, that you know that you are able to spend your Bitcoin, receive Bitcoin, and that basically your plan is usable. And at this point, we're talking with people that is super new to Bitcoin, that has no knowledge to Bitcoin. And in that moment, they need to get a coin. They need to get a UTXO. So we discussed a lot with Arcad, and we said, which platform can we point them to get free Bitcoin, not free as gratis, as like for free, free as freedom. Which platform can we pitch them to get their first coin? And we evaluated all, and we love all the non-KYC platforms like VEXL, RoboSats, Peach, BISC. But the truth is that if we're looking for one that is easy, like that you don't need a lot of knowledge, that it feels like just a website, easy, accessible. Afterwards, they can jump anywhere. They can go whenever they learn Lightning, they can go to RoboSat and so on. But if we are thinking about one that is really easy, this is where Hodl comes in. It's Hodl, like written there, hodl.com, and it's really, it's stupid simple. Like you place, I have euros and I want Bitcoin and I want to get it using this payment system. And that's it. You see the offers of other people that wants to sell Bitcoin. So this is a peer-to-peer platform. It is centralized in the way that there is like a platform. It's them who is running the website and who is checking that everything goes well. But it's decentralized in the way that your funds are not deposited in a central authority. So the whole time it belongs to you, or it belongs to the seller until the moment that the trade is done. Okay, what I'm going to talk here, because this is what we explain in this education, and I think it's going to be a bit different from what Josef and Jan explained, is how this system of Hodl works, because this is something that is very interesting to see. So it's funny how in real life, when you want to buy from somebody something, you can never be fully sure that everything will go well. There is plenty of things that can go wrong, but the truth is that in Hodl, thanks to Bitcoin, not thanks to Hodl, but thanks to the way Bitcoin works, as a buyer, you can be 100% sure that you will get your Bitcoin and nobody will scam you. Okay? And this is because Hodl uses one thing that is called multisig or escrow. And this system is what I'm going to explain you. This is basically, we're going to see how a trade works in Hodl so that the seller cannot scam you. Okay? So to buy Bitcoin in Hodl is 6 steps. We're going to see them. Again, this was not prepared. I was not supposed to be showing this, but I think it's going to be cool. Okay, we don't have a lot of definition here, but I will be guiding you here. Okay, the first step. This is these 6 arrows that they change of color. They are blue, green, or gray, depending on if it depends on the buyer to act, to do something, if it depends on the seller to do something, or if it depends on both. Okay, the first steps depends on the buyer. So this is you. This is you buying Bitcoin. You go to Hodl, you find an offer you like. Oh, this is good price. Oh, they accept Revolut, or they accept this payment system that I have. Okay, great, I accept it. And you get to the offer. And important, Hodl can be KYC as well. So this is, Hodl is like freedom. So you as a seller, you can ask for KYC, or you can ask for no KYC. So you can check in the offer if this seller will tell you, look, I'm selling non-KYC coins. Okay, good, this is the one I want. So you choose this kind of offers, and then you choose the amount you want. I want to buy $100. And then the next step, you put the address where you will want to receive your Bitcoin. And in that moment, you see the amount that you will receive, exact to the Satoshi, to the minimum amount. So you put your address, and then you accept the contract. Okay, this is the first step. The first step is basically, can I go back? Yeah. So it's basically accepting the contract. Once you accepted the contract, it's like, basically accepting is like, I have a desire to get this contract. This is what you do. Okay, this is the blue, this is you. Then it comes the second step. The second step is basically you have to confirm that you really want this contract. And this second step is you have to do it as a buyer, and the seller also has to do it as a seller. Because the seller has the last chance to get away, let's say. It's like, oh yeah, I had this offer, but I don't want to sell anymore, so I will not accept it. But basically, this is what you do in this second step. So you as a buyer, you confirm again, and as a seller, you confirm that, yeah, it's cool, I want to sell it. Easy. Yeah, and in this step, they ask you to put your password, to put your second factor authentication, to be sure that it is you who is confirming. Good. Then we go to the third step, and this is an important moment. Because this is where the moment in which we see how the multisig 2 out of 3 works. In this moment, this is the depositing phase. Depositing phase. Okay, what does it mean? This is the moment in which the seller is committing his coins to this contract. Whoa, such an amount of words. What does that mean? Okay, when we sell Bitcoin using a multisig 2 out of 3, what is happening is you have to imagine that we're creating, I don't know, I'm gonna miss a word here. What's the word? What's the thing that pirates were using in the Caribbean to store the treasures? What's like a coffer? Is it? Chest. This is the word I was missing. Thank you. So let's imagine that we're creating a new chest, and this chest is gonna have 3 locks. The 3 places where you can put a key, okay? You as a buyer have 1 key. The seller has another key, and Hodl has the 3rd key, okay? But this chest is a little bit special, because this chest, you can put whatever you want inside, but this chest, to be open, doesn't require the 3 keys. It only requires 2. This is the magic part of this chest, okay? So this is what we're doing here. We're creating a chest. The chest is already created here. You don't realize, but in your browser, you have 1 key. The seller has another key. And Hodl as a platform has a 3rd key. This chest is empty, okay? So this is the depositing phase. This is the moment in which the seller, in fact, this is the moment the seller has the last chance to not do anything, okay? But if the seller wants to really sell the Bitcoin, this is the moment in which the seller has to send the Bitcoin to this empty chest, okay? So you as a buyer, this is very important. That's why it's the message, we cannot see it good, but here is in red and like big letters, don't send money to the seller, not yet. because the seller hasn't sent any Bitcoin to this chest. Okay, in this phase, let's say that the seller sends the Bitcoin to this chest. Great. Now we're going to the fourth phase. The fourth phase depends on you, because now is the moment in which you can pay to the seller. Why can you pay to the seller without worrying that he will run away with your Bitcoin? Because the Bitcoin that you will receive is already blocked, is already kept in this chest. For this Bitcoin to move away, to move out of this chest, you need two parties to confirm. The seller is not enough, okay? Hodl will not do anything. Hodl is a company. Hodl doesn't want to have problem with anybody, so Hodl will not do anything, okay? So it will depend on you and the seller to open so the coins can come to you, okay? So now you are sure that the seller will not run away with the Bitcoin and the money as well, okay? So, okay, great. So in this fourth phase, you pay the seller. You send the money in the bank, whatever, or you can meet in person also. But again, I only recommend with somebody that you know. That's why VEXL is also good, because it's normally somebody that you know, or somebody that you know somebody, and then it's like there is a web of trust. But if in Hodl, I wouldn't meet with in person with somebody that you don't know at all. And that's why these meetups are so good, because you can get to meet people in person and there is some kind of trust. Okay, fourth phase, you send the fiat, you send it already, great. The fifth phase, you notify the platform, hey, I paid. I already sent the money. And there is like a time window in which, okay, fiat is slow. They say that Bitcoin is slow. No, I'm sorry, fiat is very slow. Bitcoin is not slow. Bitcoin is 10 minutes. And you can send money from to China if you want, or Australia. That's not slow. So, yeah, then we have to wait for fiat. And we have to wait for the seller to confirm that he received. Okay? When you say that you send it, what you are doing is you are putting one key to this chest, and you are saying, I'm putting this key to send these coins to me, to this address that I put before, that I typed before. So you're waiting for the seller to do the same. And this is what happens in the next step. The next step, the seller says, yeah, I receive it. It's in the bank. Thank you. I put my key. I unlock the chest. Coins are coming to you. And this is how a 2 out of 3 multisig works, an escrow works with a third party. As again, I said, this is not a decentralized system. This is centralized because there is a centralized party that is Hodl, who runs the website and the system, that allows you to buy coins from anybody. There is a not so beautiful case. That is, for example, I'm the seller. Okay, I received the payment. Yeah, I know that you put your key and you're waiting for me to put mine to receive it. But you know what? I received your $100. I'm gonna go drink, and I'm sorry. I will not do this. I will not just, I'm sorry. So what you can do is you can complain to Hodl. After a while, after this window of, I don't know, 1 day, 2 days, you can say, hey, I sent it and I'm receiving nothing. Then Hodl will investigate. This is the moment in which the platform comes in. Really, I tell you, Hodl doesn't want to do anything. Hodl just wants to earn money and do nothing. That's what I would like to do, okay? So this is a pain in the ass for them, but they will do the work. So they will investigate, they will try to contact the seller, they will try to contact, and normally what happens is that the seller is non-respondent. And then after a while, they say, okay, look, I'm gonna put my key and I'm gonna send it to you because you are proving me. That Hodl will ask you for proofs. Will ask you, okay, send me something that I can believe you, okay? It's not ideal, but again, then you're sure that the coins are coming to you. So as a buyer, you are so secure. And this is, I love Hodl, first of all, because it doesn't require you a lot of knowledge and it's very easy to follow. And you don't need to put any kind of warranty. For example, in RoboSats, you need to put somehow a warranty. Little is not so much, but you need to have some Bitcoin before. And in other platforms like BIS, I love it also, but you need that. And in VEXL, you need some contacts, or you need some friends, already. So there is always trade-offs. What I like of Hodl is you just can go, and a person that is starting can get the first coins. After that, they can do whatever they want. That's why I think it's a good option. So this is my talk today, how multi-sig 2 out of 3 works, and I'm happy to answer any questions, or we can maybe jump to the next section. A question? Okay.
Thank you. We can have few questions. In the meantime, we'll prepare the stage for the Q&A. You can also still put questions to the Slido. There's the QR code you can scan. You will enter the web page where you can post questions, and we will answer it during the panel. So we can have few questions. In the meantime, we'll prepare the stage, and then we will continue with the Q&A.
Super. Super. So questions. Please. ¿Qué tal?
Question is, I think with Hodl it looks nice, but you have the same problem, just say with RoboSats, that your account can get frozen or can be closed because you're sending money to.
Yes.
You know, how to deal with that?
Yes.
Or maybe Hodl have some scores.
Yes. I mean, here what I explain is the last part, that is how to, the process, no, buying, selling. But we also explain is what you have to take in consideration when operating with Hodl, and I would say with RoboSats or with any peer-to-peer platform to buy and sell Bitcoin. One of the most important things I would say is don't use, if you're gonna use bank account to buy Bitcoin, don't use the bank account that you normally use for everything. Just create a new account somewhere and use that account only to buy Bitcoin. Because this can happen. Like banks, one way to become full anarcho-capitalist is to try to buy Bitcoin peer-to-peer. There you will understand that your money in the bank is not really your money, and that people is telling you what you should do with your money and what you shouldn't. So that's a good experiment, but aside of this funny fact, yeah, create another bank account is a very good tip to not get your account frozen. As a seller, it gets a bit more complicated. As a seller, you have to, it's sad, but nowadays, as a seller, the only thing that works in Hodl is to ask for, because in Hodl you have reputation. And you can see the amount of trades that people has. So, and I can see this happening already. If you don't have reputation, there is some sellers that will not sell you more than $50 and with high fee. So they will ask for people with 5 sells, 7 buys, let's say. Some trades need to be done. So you need to build up this reputation. The same has happened with BISC, but BISC can be more interesting for a seller. It can give you more security there at some point. So yeah, it's not easy and not straightforward for sellers, but it's possible. Just need to be more careful and look for reputation.
Hopefully now it works. So let's continue our agenda with Q&A. We already have a few questions, so let's jump right in. The first question is, how can I move my Bitcoin from my Coinbase wallet from US into a Lightning wallet? And can the US government track the transfer?
Big Brother watch. Big Brother is watching. Yes, they can track because they have your KYC, and as Joseph was explaining, is kill your customer in a way that they can follow what you do. And then it will depend where do you send it and what you do with that Bitcoin. They can keep on tracking you, or they can keep on asking somebody to keep on giving them information if they want, if they need to. If I don't think too much about this traceability, what I would say is the easiest way would be to to create a wallet if it's not a lot, because this is important. For Lightning is good for pocket money. So let's not send one coin, for example, one whole Bitcoin to a Lightning wallet, okay? Let's keep the thing small. Let's send what you would put in your day-to-day wallet. So maybe $500, $1,000 maximum, something like that, okay? So knowing that, what I would do is to create a wallet in Phoenix wallet. This is an Android and iOS app. And this is so simple to use. And you can send on-chain, like the coins that you will have on Coinbase. I know that Coinbase has somehow Lightning now, I believe. I haven't used in years, but I think so. You could send Lightning, but this system, what I'm going to explain you, is so easy. You just send to on-chain address, so a normal Bitcoin address, and what Phoenix does is kind of like it elevates to Lightning automatically. In Phoenix, you can send Bitcoin, Lightning, and on-chain, so seamless. Another option would be to use Moon, M-U-U-N. Moon is nowadays still functional and good. Moon only works a little bit worse when there is high fees in the mempool, but now mempool is like that, so it works. These two options I would do. But yeah, the traceability, you can be traced because the US, if you are an important person for them, what they can do is they can ask Phoenix what is happening with that coin, and probably Phoenix will answer. And they can ask to Moon. Moon is in Argentina, probably will answer also. So yeah, that's the problem of buying KYC Bitcoin. This is why we're here, to explain that there is another way to get free Bitcoin as freedom.
Yeah, I would also probably like go through Phoenix if you're looking for very nice UX and you don't want to handle the Lightning channels and stuff. But as Luna says, there is a concern related to privacy because they probably because they handle the channels, so they know where the Lightning transactions are going then, right? So if you want to like lose the trace to some extent, you would have to do like Zeus, like a Zeus wallet, and open your own channels, and then like manage the whole Lightning thing for yourself. But still, like if it's KYC, but yeah, Luna has some comments on that.
Yeah, I think that after many times thinking about this, also with my good friend Arka, it's very good to keep what has KYC, to keep it as you bought stock, and then you just, yeah, it's sad, but you're just using it to get exposure to price action, and if you want to have Bitcoin that is free from surveillance, just start stacking it without KYC,
Yeah.
and then be free.
Yeah.
That's it. But it's hard to try to, how can I make a free one Bitcoin that has KYC? No, forget it.
Yeah, there's this common idea that you can sort of get rid of KYC. You cannot. Like, there's two like very important features of KYC. First is what they store about you, and you cannot get rid of that at all because it's on their side. Like on Coinbase side, they have all the sensitive data you gave them. That's never going away. And the second is like what can be traced on the Bitcoin blockchain. And it's very, very hard to like lose that trace unless you really know what you're doing. And even if you do, I wouldn't be 100% sure. For example, like when the samurai guys were busted, I'm afraid like the government can basically see because they have the coordinator data, so they can see what went in and what went out of the coin chain. So I wouldn't be too sure that even if you coin joins through Samurai, that they wouldn't be able to unlock it.
Just a comment on that. Not because of the coordinator, maybe they could know because of some expubs that they were storing from people that didn't have a node, but the coordinator was blind. So
yeah, with the expub. Well,
yeah,
okay, it's
another topic.
Right. The next question is on VEXL. Joe said the worst case it can happen is leaking of my number. Is there any place my contact list or my number is stored in plain text?
No, it's not stored in plain text. It's hashed, and the app and like the network uses the hashed phone numbers, and yeah, that's the only way it's used. Yes.
I have a question for you. If it's hashed and numbers, I don't know how many numbers have the phone numbers here in Paraguay, but probably you can hash them all and know what's the hash of all of them, no?
Yeah, it could be brute forced. I believe I don't have like a precise technical answer why it's hashed and not encrypted. I believe if you work with like hundreds of contacts, it would be impossible, impractical to use like encryption for that. So that is one trade-off. And like the worst case, if it's brute forced, which it is conceivable, then the only information that gets leaked is that this phone number has downloaded VEXL.
All right, the next question is, if the Blink app is used in Paraguay to purchase, then what app can be used in Paraguay to buy Bitcoin? I'm not sure if I understand this question.
As a user of Blink.
Yes, as a user of Blink, if the Blink app is used in Paraguay to purchase,
Okay.
then what app can be used in Paraguay to buy Bitcoin?
If I understood correct, I would say that then they might have some lining, and then they can think about using RoboSats, which is amazing and great. So that's one thing, but I would say that if you are here, and that's why you sent the question, I think that the best way to buy Bitcoin without KYC is here. It's just bit by bit gaining some trust with somebody and just asking if somebody's selling and creating a relationship bit by bit.
Definitely. And there is one hack you can actually do if you, for example, want to do DCA over VEXL and using Blink, because Blink, they have a function that is called stable sets. If you want to do one transaction during the month, for example, peer-to-peer transaction, in-person transaction, do high volume transaction, like, I don't know, for example, $500, $1,000, but you don't want to convert it directly to the Bitcoin during the moment, but you want to distribute it during the entire month. What you can do is you can accept it in stable sets, and then every week during the month, you can convert part of it to the Bitcoin, and you can basically DCA it this way. And after the month, you can just send it to your cold wallet and store it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit dangerous topic because we know that stablecoins are still usable, but they are becoming this big brother tool, surveillance tool. But stablecoins are very powerful because they give you access to fast Bitcoin in a way. So yeah, maybe some people might want to have some $100, $500 in stablecoin to get fast access, as you were saying. Stable sats is something similar.
Yeah, it's basically like a synthetic dollar. It's a position on an exchange. So yeah, it's centralized, these funds. And Blink is very open about it. These funds can be stolen in case because they are not directly controlled by the Blink company. But yes, they basically open a short position on Bitcoin. And when the Bitcoin goes up, the amount of Bitcoin in your position is decreasing, and when it goes up, when it goes down, it's increasing. So yeah, it balances over time. All right, the next question is. Just want to post the message. We needed more people on Hodl in Paraguay. There is no offers to buy Bitcoin for Guarani.
Yeah, this is very important. Like at the end, it's peer-to-peer, no? Yeah. So there has to be people on one side and another, and it's not taking no time. Just place an offer with a good margin. Maybe you can earn some good guaranis if you are selling Bitcoin just because you are the only one there. It's a good offer.
Is it possible to settle peer-to-peer transactions in cash without banks?
It's definitely possible and encouraged with VEXL. You chat with the counterparty, you set up a meeting place, just use your common sense for that. Meet like in a cafe and do like a small transaction with cash, at least at first. And then maybe when you build trust over time and you get the verifications that that guy is legit, you can do maybe higher volume transactions. So yeah, with VEXL definitely you can do cash for Bitcoin. With Hodl, I believe Luna said it's possible as well.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because of what I said. It's like a lot of
It's strangers.
Yeah, it's just fully strangers. So bad stuff can happen. Again, if you're here already, you're in the best position to buy non-KYC. This is what I think. I always recommend. You can buy like this, like this, like this, but please find yourself a meetup and start meeting people, and then it's gonna be easy. Because then, for example, I meet Jan. Jan wants to sell every month $1,000 in Bitcoin, and then I don't even need to talk with anybody else. We just get into a relationship and we keep on buying and selling very easy. And then you can do many systems of payments because you start to build the trust.
Yeah, that's also important to mention that as you build like this network of people that you are trading with. So for example, there's a Bitcoiner that needs cash every month because he's earning Bitcoin and nothing but Bitcoin. You don't need to go through VEXL anymore or through any systems. So for like advanced Bitcoiners, usually you don't need these systems because you already know the guy. So this is more like for the newcomers. But for the newcomers, it's a very powerful tool to meet like these advanced Bitcoiners that, for example, live on Bitcoin and need some cash from time to time, or with like, let's say, professional market makers who are selling for like 3-4% margin and hedging on an exchange. So yeah, it's but you don't need to rely on it forever. It's good if you like find a couple of people that you trust, that you meet regularly with, and like discuss Bitcoin. You know they're legit. Then you don't need to leave like even any theoretical trace in these apps.
So speaking of security, what are your recommended practices you should follow as a VEXL user to keep yourself safe during the trade?
Okay, so if you go to the app, you will see like the offers. It's like a bulletin board, and you will see how many common friends you have. And I never go for people that there is like one common phone number and it's like a taxi. It's like a publicly known number. Some people tend to do that. They import like these public numbers that everybody has in their phone, and then they are trying to find counterparties like that, but that's total strangers. So like the first best practice of using like VEXL is to actually go through actual people. So I always go for offers that have like 10 common contacts, and these common contacts are my Bitcoiner friends. So that's the first. The second, as I said, meet in a public place, do small transaction, find out like what's the impression of that person, or it's even better if you like exchange some contacts here or go through the VEXL club, the Paraguayan VEXL club. And all of it boils down to just using common sense. You just don't want to do like large transactions with some strangers if it's like peer-to-peer in cash.
So you mentioned VEXL clubs. Can you explain how does it work and what's the security behind the VEXL clubs? And because of course, if it's a open group of stranger, you don't use your network of contacts, right?
Yeah, so VEXL Club is a neat feature that's been in VEXL for about a year now. It's quite recent. And it answered like the common issue that people don't have any Bitcoin friends, and even their friends don't have any Bitcoin friends. So it came up as a bootstrapping basically tool. So if you, for example, come to Bitcoin meetups and you like importing the contacts don't work for you, you can enter a club that's already set up for the meetup. For example, like the Paraguayan Bitcoin club. It has to have like a moderator who vets like who's he's letting in, because yeah, you don't want like total strangers and weird people in the clubs. Besides like normal Bitcoin weirdness. So for Paraguay, that's Jan. He's the moderator of the Paraguayan VEXL club. And yeah, it's neat because then it doesn't depend on your phone contacts. It just depends on who was let into the club, and you can see and respond to the offers that are in that club.
The next question is it possible to sell stuff in this platform? So, Luna, if you can comment on this.
Yeah, maybe I can go first. Okay. Because yeah, in VEXL you can really like host anything. It's a bulletin board. Like if you have like a board on the square and people go and pin some stuff on it, that's what VEXL basically is. So I can post like I'm selling my car for Bitcoin, and people do actually sell cars or offer the cars. I've seen like horses for sale or like octopuses for sale. There's all kinds of services. Just right now I was checking, there's a guy in Prague offering to sharpen your knives. Or there's like construction workers, craftsmen. So it's a marketplace. It truly is like a social marketplace, basically like what Facebook Marketplace does. And it's interesting that in some places, like in Africa, where for some reason the Facebook Marketplace hasn't taken off, VEXL is mostly used for like these goods and services, local goods and services. So you can, if you have like chickens, you can offer eggs for sats. It's actually very nice. Yeah, so nobody can stop you. And the only way to sort of moderate what's being posted is by the users themselves. You can just block some users, or you cannot block users because, as I said, the users and their offers are not linked. So you can just block some offers. So if somebody's, for example, offering like illegal drugs and you don't like that, you just block that offer and you don't see it, but otherwise it is in the network. So it's impossible to censor what is happening on the platform.
So if you cannot censor it, isn't there a problem with the spam?
With the spam, possibly, yes, possibly yes. But also you're spamming basically just your friends. So it's not very, you won't get much out of it. Like it's not like Twitter or like these large global social networks where you can spam like thousands or millions of people at once without any cost. This will get to like 50 people, and it's like, why would you do it? Like you can, but you can.
All right, the next question I can see here is Hodl on-chain Bitcoin only, or does it work with Lightning Network or Liquid USDT?
It's on-chain mostly. You can then exchange Bitcoin for anything. Like you can exchange Bitcoin for fiat or for stablecoins or for crypto. I've seen many things offer there. So then you can exchange for liquid, but no, you cannot be, liquid Bitcoin cannot be the main thing to trade, because at the end what you're going to block is Bitcoin on-chain in a regular multisig. So yeah, one side has to be Bitcoin on-chain. The other side can be, I don't even know if you can do like card. I think that there is plenty of options of payment, and I don't know if there is something like other. But the truth is that mostly it's Bitcoin fiat or Bitcoin crypto stablecoin or something like that.
So, for example, how does Hodl resolve issues like, for example, the transaction was blocked, or what's the dispute process behind it? Like, for example, myself, it happened to me a couple months ago. It wasn't on Hodl, it was on RoboSats, but it's the same concept. I was transferring to someone on Revolut, and just my funds were suddenly frozen because it was a bad person. So how does Hodl solve these situations? Revolut.
Revolut.
Yeah.
So the transaction went out or not?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I mean, in this kind of situation, nobody can do anything. I mean, this is like your problem in the end, because basically it's your bank not allowing you to transact. So it's on your side. What Hodl does, and this is something very different from other platforms, is that again, Hodl is centralized, and this is something that they think as a feature, not a bug. That they have access, the moment that there is a dispute, they have access to conversation. And they can see how it was, and this is the way they block a lot of scammers, because they see that they are trying, they don't have access in the moment of the dispute, they have access all the time. It's important to know. So, but they can block scammers because they see that they are trying to ask for money before Bitcoin is locked and this kind of stuff. So what they will access the moment that you send the money was sent and received, but the other party is not cooperative. This is the moment, and they will try to figure out who is lying. What normally happens is that the seller is not responsive. Then they can give a window of time, but after 48 hours, it's like, okay, you're bad.
This is interesting to compare it, for example, with the RoboSats, because you mentioned, and you were correct, that RoboSats has something called bond, which is basically lightning payment you have to do before you set the actual amount you want to trade. And both parts of the trade have to send this bond. And you can choose between like 3 to, I believe, 15%. And higher the bond is, the safer the trade is. Because if something goes off, for example, one party doesn't fulfill the deal, right? And the coordinator acknowledges that the one party was right, the second party was wrong, the wrong party loses this bond. So it punishes the wrong guy or wrong side of the trade by taking this bond amount from him. So it's a security mechanism which Hodl, as you said, doesn't have, which is good for the new users that don't have Bitcoin. But yeah.
I really studied all the platforms, and there is always trade-offs. There is not a silver bullet in any of them, which is good and bad at the same time, but it's good because then you can choose different tools for different moments.
Sure. The next question is, what are disadvantages of non-KYC Bitcoin? Go for it.
So I wouldn't call it a disadvantage, but yeah, there's trade-offs. So if you like only have non-KYC Bitcoin and at some point you want to buy like real estate in some jurisdictions, that might be a problem because you need to have the proof of funds, and they might not believe you if you say you just staked non-KYC Bitcoin. So that's a trade-off that you should be aware of. It's a possible trade-off for some people. For a lot of people, like the case is they only have like the KYC Bitcoin, and for those, they should really think about getting like non-KYC Bitcoin as well and keeping those stashes separate and not mixing them, because you can taint your non-KYC Bitcoin with the KYC Bitcoin if you use them in the same transaction, and then you undo like the privacy of the non-KYC Bitcoin. I'm thinking maybe like with non-KYC Bitcoin, sometimes the fees can be higher. It takes more time if you're meeting with someone. The liquidity may be lower if you want to buy like $10,000 worth of Bitcoin every week. It might be an issue depending on like what kind of service you use. So like the UX maybe isn't that good, but as Luna explained, like Hodl is pretty useful already. So yeah, there's maybe certain trade-offs. and also like it's very individual.
For me, it's very easy. It's KYC Bitcoin. You can only use it for price appreciation in a way. It's how I would recommend it. Like buy it, store it, self-custody, important because exchanges can bankrupt or they can get hacked. No, this was happening in the past. No, I'm sorry. This year, like 1.5 billion were stolen from Bybit, and I think that 1 billion from somewhere else. So it's not little amounts. And store it and keep it for price action. So the moment you want to get out, exit strategy, that will be very easy to sell. Very easy to sell. But this will be your only superpower. But Bitcoin has plenty of superpowers, and they are related with freedom. So with KYC Bitcoin, you will be not as free. If you're really interested in freedom and you're looking or you are willing to put the time in using that freedom, because freedom is not convenient. Freedom makes you do the extra mile and you have to work sometimes a lot to use that freedom, then go for non-KYC Bitcoin. Again, as Joseph was saying, you can have a stack of both. But yeah, the real superpower is Bitcoin non-KYC. And something I like to say is like, this is like a spider that in Spider-Man, no? So you get stung by the spider. Buying Bitcoin KYC only is like using this superpower to go to a Halloween party as Spider-Man. And using non-KYC Bitcoin is like jumping between buildings with all your superpowers. So you can choose Halloween party or flying in the sky.
So what would you recommend to the people that came here and they previously bought all their Bitcoin on exchange? They have all the Bitcoin, they have KYC'd. And now they are listening to this, that you should have only non-KYC Bitcoin. What would you recommend to these people to do?
No should. I think that should is not a word that I would say, because we're all libertarians here, everybody does whatever they want. And no should, and it's not. And the first thing I would say is you didn't do anything wrong. Easy, calm. But I would say, like, you have to know that this Bitcoin is like Bitcoin with eyes. The eyes from your exchange and government also. So with this Bitcoin with eyes, after, go and try to pay a beer there. The moment that you will go to pay, you will ask yourself questions. Should I? Should I not? Because there is somebody watching. And then you probably will not buy the beer with Bitcoin. You will take your card and pay with fiat. So then do the same exercise, but with Bitcoin non-KYC. And you will experience that you will pay and you will not think about anything. This is freedom. So as Joseph was saying, I would say don't worry. Don't try to do crazy stuff. Just keep your KYC stack on one side and maybe consider having your secondary stack of non-KYC Bitcoin. Maybe this stack will grow bigger than the first. Maybe not. It's up to you. Again, everybody chooses.
Yeah, some people like go for the nuclear option of like trying to undo like what they consider a mistake of acquiring the KYC Bitcoin, and the only way to do that is selling the Bitcoin on the exchange where you bought it, so that like the official story is you got some Bitcoin in the past and you sold it, and that's it. And of course, then you use that money to buy the non-KYC peer-to-peer Bitcoin for cash, and there is no trace. Of course, this can have like capital gains tax implications and stuff like that. But if you are really serious about it, then that would be the way to do it. Don't try to like lose the trace like on chain, because that's very tricky.
The next question is about volumes. What is the best non-KYC way and or platform to buy large amounts of Bitcoin, for example, 10,000 or 50,000 USD?
So, like through VEXL, like I wouldn't do it through VEXL as a first trade at all. Definitely not. VEXL is more for like founding the counterparties, doing some smaller transactions with them, and like verifying they're legit. But for like really large amounts, yeah, use your common sense. You need to have like multiple verifications from people you trust that that guy is legit. Usually there is a guy in the community, in the country, in the city, if Bitcoin is used and there's a demand for volume. I know a guy in Prague, a lot of Bitcoiners know somebody who's like moving larger amounts, has been doing it for years, and they won't scam you for like $10,000 because they're earning much more as their business, basically. So I wouldn't do it just through VEXL. I would do it through asking people like Jan or some other highly reputable local Bitcoiners that you know, and they would probably know like whom to trust.
The thing here is that out of all the platforms we saw, I think that Hodl is the only capable one. Because in RoboSats we have the problem of lining. I mean, thanks to Bitcoin appreciation, 1 million of sats is $1,000. So maybe in not long time, maybe we will be able to do that also at RoboSats. But if we're talking about maybe 50K, I think Hodl is the only one to digest that. And there is people selling these amounts. Problem there is what will happen is that your bank is going to stop that payment. Your bank is going to ask you even what's the color of your toothbrush. You know, it's everything. Everything, and after plenty of questions and many days probably, that transaction will get out. You are on your right, it's your money, they just will try to block it, but I think that that's the only way. How I would do it is probably, I wouldn't do it definitely not the first time. And again, I would recommend asking around and getting to know people. I just come from Argentina, and in Argentina this is very easy. There is plenty of cuevas, that this is an official money exchangers, and there you move the amount that you want, so easy. And I know that in Paraguay there is also some. So, but again, these kind of tricks are not obvious and not in clear sight. You just have to look. This is like Neo in Matrix. Neo couldn't find Morpheo looking on Google. Where does Morpheo live? You know, it has to keep on researching and researching. And one day, after I don't know how long, he found him. So I think this is like, look for it and you will find it.
I have a following question. I was like thinking, because I'm European, I'm from Czech Republic. Czech Republic doesn't have euros, but I'm following closely the news from the European Central Bank, and I know there are plans that they are tightening the restrictions about the euro transfers. That basically, right now I think you cannot, or they are planning to do like 3,000 euros limit, right? I don't know from when, but they want to do this, that they will start asking questions and so on. So probably it's gonna be harder to do trades on platforms like Hodl or large volume trades on Hodl because of these restrictions, right? So, and also we don't know what's gonna happen with the cash because they are planning their CBDC, right? So
I think that these restrictions are always applied to cash because they can really not apply this restriction to bank money. If they do, I mean, this is unreal because companies are moving hundreds of thousands of euros in regular activity. So this cannot happen. I think that there is a lot of misinformation and they want to inform and be more strict with it, but with bank money, they cannot read. They can ask questions and you can get pissed and you should get pissed. But they cannot block it because if not, then it's full slavery. Like it's already slavery, let's be clear, but it will be like deliberate, obvious slavery.
yeah, I think this is the right moment to say like how merchant adoption is important and a little bit of like ignorance of the rules, you know, and trying to be a little bit rebel in the system, even though you might risk something. But it's important that we work on the merchant adoption, because this is the way we build the freedom. Because if we are free to transact, if we are free to buy goods and services directly with the Bitcoin, there is no bank, no government that can stop us, right? So even though they will create limits on their bank transfer or cash transfers, they cannot stop Bitcoin, and that's really important point to mention, I believe. All right, there is another question. Can you please connect me to the person who wants to buy Bitcoin for 10,000 USD? Thank you.
So, meet yourself, please. Do homework.
Ask around.
Ask around.
All right, do we have any more questions here? Again, here's a question about if you can wash your Bitcoin.
Wash?
Yes, you can watch Bitcoin. That was the question. Like crossing change, but unmark for Bitcoin. That's because I was responding to the thing like, okay, one KYC and KYC. Then if you have KYC Bitcoin, you can go cross change. For example, to liquid and then back.
I get it.
Then you can wash.
No, you cannot. What you can do, what you're saying, and it needs to be done good, is you can break traceability.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes, but KYC you cannot delete, because to delete or to wash KYC, what you should do is to hack the database of your exchange and probably your government.
No, I see what you mean with
Which maybe can be an interesting project, but but I don't think it's easy and it shouldn't be done, guys. Okay, I didn't say that.
Okay. Another question is, does Hodl or VEXL check the origin of the Bitcoin to ensure that I'm purchasing clean Bitcoin and not Bitcoin from criminal sources?
No.
No, there's like no way to do it. VEXL doesn't see what the users are doing. And like the founder of VEXL and CEO, Lea, she was on my podcast and she had we had a very interesting discussion about like dirty Bitcoin versus dirty fiat. And like the problem usually is with dirty fiat, as Luna said, or Jan maybe was it? If you do like wire transfers with these like P2P marketplaces, then usually the problems arise from the dirty fiat, because you receive fiat from some drug dealer that was later arrested and stuff. So that's what you should be worried about. Like, and again, as Luna said, if you're buying Bitcoin through VEXL or Hodl, you should treat it like in a specific way. You shouldn't then maybe try to deposit it to Coinbase, because then you don't know, they might have questions that you won't have answers for.
There is no such a thing as dirty Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is Bitcoin. The same way that if you're selling bread and somebody pays you with, I don't know, with some Guaranese bill, where is this bill coming from? Was it in the hands of a drug dealer like 2 jumps before? So yeah, in Bitcoin you can see something because you can trace the movements, but again, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Dot. Period. And the problem will be with if you're going, as Joseph said, try to go back to the system. But there are ways. There are always ways. Of course, don't expect me to put a letter here explaining it for everybody to see. But there is ways, and they are easy to see.
There is question, if you don't report Bitcoin in a country where it's required, can you still buy property or high value car without getting in trouble?
I don't know if I understood the first part. So, like, without the Bitcoin or KYC, basically?
If you don't report Bitcoin in country where it's required,
well,
yeah, buying non-KYC Bitcoin, I guess.
Then let's say that if you want to play the fiat system, you have to follow the fiat rules. So then, for sure, if you're breaking a fiat rule, you will have problems going back. Because if you shouldn't have Bitcoin because you didn't report it, maybe in your country you're forced to report any kind of wealth that you have, you didn't, then definitely you have a problem. And there is always ways, but you are trying to win breaking some rules, and it's going to be complicated.
Yeah, maybe just a comment. I think, like, especially in Europe, there's like already there is this difference between or this clash between compliance and freedom, and you just have to choose what you want to be, if you want to be compliant or free. And for some people, the answer might be just don't live in Europe, because if you value freedom and you are not able to use your wealth in the way you want to, then maybe it's a good idea to just leave that place.
Paraguay is good. Paraguay is really good.
Yeah, there's a question. Why do you think Paraguay is a great city for a Bitcoiner? And comment stack sats and stay humble.
Okay, so I only have been in Paraguay now for 2 days, and last year for like 3 days. I think it's a great place because like so many people come to these Bitcoin meetups, and like how the community has been growing here. It's something I haven't seen anywhere else. Maybe in Czech Republic, like 10 years ago, and this place reminds me of that. And yeah, there's like really it's. Seems to be growing in a very healthy way, like that, where we get to discuss like topics like this, which are not mainstream at all. So yeah, feels like a great place for Bitcoiners.
For me, it's easy because I speak Spanish, but aside of that, place is amazing. You can feel the opportunities here. People is amazing, how they are, and it feels good. It feels good. Europe is so lost, and you come here and it's like based. People is based, and of course, I will not hide the elephant in the room. Taxation here is good for what we're used to. So.
All right, I think we can have the last question, and then we can maybe have a last comment from both of you, and we can close this discussion. So the last question on Joseph is what's next on VEXL roadmap? Do you plan any marketplace for products?
Yeah, so the marketplace for products is already there. It basically always has been, but the difference that like happened, I believe like a year ago, is it's better categorized. So users have a way to categorize what they're offering or what they're demanding. So right now you have the buttons, I want to buy Bitcoin, I want to sell a Bitcoin, or I want to buy a product, or I want to sell a product, or I want to do something else. So you have these options. And if there's like a vibrant community, you can see very interesting stuff under these categories. So it is a product marketplace already and services. And what's next is just broadening the user base. VEXL is from Czech Republic. It has more than, I believe, 10,000 users in Czech Republic, so very high liquidity. And it's very easy to like buy and sell Bitcoin for very low margins or even spot in Czech, and it has been expanding to other countries like Germany, Italy, some African countries as well. We are working through like local volunteer ambassadors, and they have been doing a great job. And now, hopefully, Paraguay and other Latin American countries as well. So that is like the main ambition now, to just make VEXL like the go-to app if you want non-KYC peer-to-peer Bitcoin.
All right, great. So if you have, guys, any final comment, something you would like to share with our audience, now is the moment.
Yeah, just keep being curious about peer-to-peer non-KYC Bitcoin. Don't get intimidated. It's much easier than you might think. Talk to Jan about maybe getting into the VEXL club. He will have some trials for you, I guess. And yeah, just check it out and thank you for coming.
I would just say that there is plenty of Bitcoiners that have an amazing story, but I would say that you have to follow your own white rabbit. So your story will be different than anybody. So just follow, as he says, as Joseph said, your curiosity and build your Bitcoin path. It will be the right one. Thank you.
Great comments. Thank you very much, guys. Joseph, Luna, thank you, all of you guys that were asking very interesting questions. We are not done with the event. We are still planning to do the lightning raffle. I think we can do it in more or less half an hour. So you still have the opportunity to buy tickets. I will just remind you, there is a QR code on the main door. You can scan it. You can buy the tickets there with your Lightning wallet. And if you have any questions about VEXL, RoboSats, Hodl, you can come to us, ask us questions. If you want to enter the VEXL group we have here, come to me, I can give you the access, or come to Juan Besolani, who also has access. And thank you for coming.
Yeah? It's good.
Good.
It's good. Thank you so much.